Good afternoon. This is Frank from Ridgetop Yoga Retreat, and I just wanted to take a moment to share a little bit of a yoga experience or what yoga means to me with some of you. I was talking to some yogis the other day, and we're talking about the benefits of yoga. And I know in the beginning, most people think the benefits of yoga are all going to be physical, but in reality, a complete yoga practice is going to be good for you physically. It'll also be good for you mentally and emotionally. And emotionally is the one where a lot of people say, what do you mean? And I'd like to share my experience. When I started yoga in my 40s, I did it as a way just to kind of move and do something together with my wife. And as I slowly started to practice, and nobody told me this, it just happened organically, it starts to change the way you think in a positive way. And in my case, what I did throughout my life is we all walk through life carrying different things and emotional things or trauma from childhood or different parts of our life. And for me personally, I always used comedy as a way of dealing with that instead of dealing with the emotion. And then what happened when I started taking yoga is you're on a mat by yourself for an hour, or maybe an hour and a half, or maybe just a half hour. And it caused me to start to have honest conversations with myself and have honest answers. I couldn't use my coping technique I used my whole life, which was using comedy to kind of divert away from where the conversation was going or where the situation was going. So I think a lot of times as humans, we lock all this stuff away that we don't want to deal with. And when it wants to come out, I would use comedy to kind of get out of that sticky situation. And yoga forced me to deal with those things and have honest conversations with myself. There was nobody to make laugh or get away from because I was on my mat. And then what it started to do organically again was make me start to address things in my own personality or in my own emotions that I didn't like and start to rectify them. It also let me recognize the good qualities in myself and say, hey, I need to accentuate them. So I think one of the real benefits to yoga is it gives you time to be with yourself. And I know that might sound a little weird to some people, but in reality, we are with ourselves all the time, but we're always distracted in the modern world. We're working, we're driving, we're watching TV, reading a book, hiking, whatever it is. And very rarely do we sit down and just spend time with ourselves. And yoga's great benefit for me is it gave me that time for myself, helped me recognize areas in my life where I was deficient, areas where I was succeeding, and then accentuate the ones that were succeeding and work on the ones that where I was deficient or it might have been a negative impact on my life. So I wanted to share that with you. Because I think it's very important for people to realize when you come to yoga, it's not about just headstands and splits and very unique body positions. That is part of yoga for some people, and it's perfectly normal if that's what you like. Our style of yoga is a little more gentle, a little more mindful. It's really about making your practice your own and just finding time in your day to come together and work on yourself. And by working on yourself, that could mean sitting there in a position and not doing any of the asanas anybody else is doing. It's taking that time out, leaving your phone outside the studio, and just focusing on you. And I think that's so important because you do deserve that. It just takes time for you to acknowledge that and say, hey, you know what? I am going to put everything on hold for this hour or 2 hours of my day and focus on my happiness and well-being. So I hope if you have any questions about yoga, you can send them. We're more than happy to answer them. Or if you have the time, if you can take a class, that would be awesome. Thank you for your time today and have a wonderful April and spring. And we hope to see you at the studio sometime. Namaste.